Hi second graders, it's Mrs. Payant. I'm going to teach you how to draw a bubble letter. So what we're going to do is, I hope you had a chance to look at the slideshow and learn a little bit about the illuminated letters that we see in really old books. They wanted to make them very, very decorative. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our knowledge of the Keith Haring project and how we turned stick letters into bubble people. And we're going to do the same idea but with a really, really big letter. So you can choose any letter you want. It could be the first letter of your name. It could be the last letter of your name. It's really up to you. But I want you to make sure that you're drawing really, really big. So remember, when we draw with a pencil, we want to hold it in towards the middle so that we draw nice and light. And our letter should go all the way from the top of our paper to the bottom of our paper. Not quite touching. So I'm going to draw a little dot here and a dot here because I'm going to do the letter P. So I'm going to very lightly draw my letter P. Nice and big. See how it's so much bigger than my hand? Then we're going to go around it and we're going to use a parallel line. Remember, parallel lines are never going to touch. That's right. So about 3 finger spaces wide. So I'm going to put 3 finger spaces. I'm going to put one here, boop, boop. I'm going to make a little mark on each side, and I'm going to do that all the way around my letter just to help me make sure that my letter is nice and fat. We want it to be really fat, and if you have a curve like that, you could do the same thing here to make sure. Just little lines. And now I'm going to connect all of those lines, and we draw a light until we get it right. We'll draw around here, not quite 3 finger spaces here because I don't want it to go off the page. And here we go. You could make them straight lines, you could make them curving lines like I'm doing here. There we go. Big curved line inside. Excellent. So now I'm going to erase that stick letter because we don't want to see it any longer. And you can trace with a Sharpie marker. You can do this next step with a Sharpie marker or a regular marker, colored pencil. I'm just going to do it with a regular crayon, so I know that a lot of you already have those at home. And I wanted to show you can still make really cool stuff with simple things like crayons. So I'm going to take my crayon and I'm going to trace around the outside of my letter, going nice and slow so that I can go over my pencil line. And if I skip a spot, that's okay. Okay, so now I have my big letter. And then what you're going to do is on the inside, or if you want to, you can do the outside. I'm going to show you the inside. You can start to use your different kinds of lines like we talked about with our treasure map project to draw patterns inside, nice and tight little patterns. So maybe I do a curvy line here. Whoa. Like this. Maybe I do some big curved lines in the corner like that. And then when you're 100% finished, you'll have all of those spaces nicely filled in, nice tight. I might have to go back and add some spaces. Maybe this isn't quite interesting enough for me, so I can go back and I can add some more interesting lines. And you can keep adding and adding and adding to this. If you look up the word Zentangle, you'll see that there's some artists out there that do these kinds of things, and they do it just with Sharpie marker, like especially the skinny Sharpie markers. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pick 2 to 3 colors. I don't recommend any more than 3, and we're going to start radiating out from our letter. So I would suggest picking colors that are close to each other in the color wheel. So blue and purple are right next to each other on the color wheel. So you could do yellow and green. Those would look really good together. It's really up to you. So I'm going to choose, let's see, I'm going to choose this orange, and I'm going to do red because red and orange are next to each other on the color wheel. So this is a red orange and this is regular red. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a kind of line. So I'm going to do zigzag, and I'm going to do about finger space for my letter, and I'm going to very carefully draw around my letter with a zigzag. And if you want to draw this with pencil first, you could. This you can do with marker or crayon or colored pencil, again, whatever you have around your house. So I'm going to turn the paper as I go so it's easier on my hand. There we go. I'm going to do a zigzag inside here too. Kind of. It's a little zigzag, that's okay. What you'll do is you'll color this space in. So little finger ups and downs to fill that space in all the way around your letter. Alright, so now it's all colored in. I'm going to do the same thing with my next color. So for this one, I'm just going to do a curvy line around that zigzag line. You could choose just to do a regular straight line, or you could do another zigzag. And then again, you're just going to color this in, little ups and downs to fill in those white spaces. And again, you can use whatever material you have at home. So we're going to go all the way around. Let's not forget that little spot inside here. And you'll notice how having all of these colors around our letter like this really helps the letter stand out. Okay, so we've talked about having contrast before. So having something black and white like our letter really makes our letter stand out when it's against these bright colors. If you don't have any colors at home, you don't have any crayons or anything like that, that's okay. You can use you can do just the letter and then figure it out another time. Chalk would work okay. Just whatever you have. Okay, so as I start finishing up, I'm going to make sure that all of my areas are nicely colored in. There's no little like giant white spaces. And then you just keep going around and around and around. So now I do another zigzag all the way around until there is no more space on that paper. We really want our black and white letter to stand out against a colorful background. And then I would color that in. And eventually it'll all be filled in like this one is. So I've got these beautiful lines around it. The other choice you could do is you could do horizontal lines. You could even do vertical lines if you chose to. So here's an example I've done with Sharpie marker, and we have that paint. If you wanted to try to do that, if you had that at home. Here's an example that I started last year where the patterns are on the outside and then you color the letter in with a solid color to really make it stand out. So it's really up to you how you want to do this. Our learning goal is to make sure that we're drawing a nice big letter and to use patterns. So we want to make sure that we have patterns that repeat. We want to make sure that we're coloring neatly and our letter fills that space. So I really look forward to seeing all of your beautiful artwork as soon as I can. Bye.